guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Wedding Wednesday number 2, and today I'm going to be showing you all about our wedding look. So everything that I found on Pinterest that kind of inspired the theme that we have going on for our wedding coming up, and how I'm bringing those little pieces of our theme into our actual wedding, where I'm getting those items, how I'm bringing out that theme in our wedding. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so most of this video, the way I'm going to show it to you is I am going to show you actual screen captures and screen grabs from my computer, so that way you can see what items I'm talking about, and I can show you my Pinterest boards and things like that. So I'm going to pop my screen up for you. So one of the things I learned to do early on in my wedding planning was to make a Pinterest board and start dropping things onto it that I liked in all different categories. But then I also learned that you should make a second Pinterest board where you go in and you actually break it down to about 30 pins that covers everything in your wedding, from like maybe a picture of like the dress type that you like, the tables, the linens, the aisle, things like that, and keep it down to about 30, or else it's too overwhelming. So the board that you're currently looking at was that board for me, and so it actually was down to 30 pins. And then since then I've added some other things, obviously with makeup for my look, just to this board, because I had already figured out what I was doing theme-wise, and so I didn't really need it to be specifically just those 30 pins anymore. If you notice, there's also boards that say wedding dupes, wedding info, and wedding activities, and those are, oh, and there's also a deleted pins one. So the wedding dupes are pictures or inspirations of items that I have a similar thing on my modern, rustic wedding board. So it's just like a similar thing. So I don't need 4 pictures of a similar centerpiece, but I don't want to totally delete the other 3 from my main wedding board. The wedding info one, I'll show you real quickly, is things like this, how to find a color for your bridesmaids dresses, the wedding dress shop cheat sheets, things that you need for like your makeup routine coming up, stuff like that. I'll show you the wedding dupes page. I have my duplicates on here. So like on here, I don't need all of these pictures of wedding dresses on my main wedding board, but I also didn't want to delete them because I wanted to be able to look back at them if I needed some more inspiration. And it keeps going for quite a ways with lots of other things, more invitation ideas, lots of wedding dresses, colors for the invitations and bridesmaids dresses, things like that. My deleted pins are actually also wedding things, but they're ones that I decided I wasn't a huge fan of anymore compared to another pin that I had found. So I didn't want to totally get rid of them, but I didn't need them on my main wedding board anymore unless my style totally changed and I wanted to look at my previous pins that I had seen that were slightly different in style. And then my wedding activities board are things that you would have at your wedding, like a wedding decor checklist, signs, some more ideas, lots of like signage that you might have at your wedding, just ideas, things that maybe I wanted to go back and do. Also some games like Who Am I, things like that I wanted to have on there, bridal shower games, different activities like a s'mores, bar, things like that. So if I wanted some information or inspiration for things like that, I could do that if I wanted to. So I put those on this board. But back to my main wedding board. The top here is kind of misleading because, like I said, it does have a bunch of makeup pictures and pins, which I'm not going to be talking to you about for this, obviously, because my makeup is not that important when it comes to the theme of the wedding. Here's some nail ideas, hair ideas. I've recently added all of these pins to this board. We're going to go down to the actual board. Wow, I've added a lot of things, and I think Pinterest has too. Eventually my plan is to make separate boards for wedding, makeup, hair, and nails, but right now I just threw it on this board, which is why there's so many, because I need to go back through and pare them down. Okay guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm officially annoyed at how much Pinterest has added to this board, because I did have it very pared down originally, and now there are so many extra things on here that I did not add. So I'm going to go see if I can find my Pinterest. I made like a collage of all my pins that I had on that Pinterest board actually, so I'm going to see if I can find that. Okay, so I finally found my collage of all of my pins that I had actually previously made, because that Pinterest board was a mess. So here it is. This is basically my Pinterest board for the wedding compiled into one page. So now we're not doing all of these things, obviously. This is just ideas that I saw that I liked, so I could build up a better idea what I wanted our wedding to look like style-wise. Now we are going to do a guest book sign-in type deal that's very similar to this up one, but it's one that's much cheaper that I found at Hobby Lobby, I think, and it was also 50% off back in March. So people still sign with a white marker onto a dark piece of wood, and it's got this really pretty white heart on it. Of course, I don't have it with me, but the same idea as this, where people are signing a board that you would actually hang up in your house later on, instead of a book that we're never going to look through. We are going to do something very similar to this welcome sign. We're going to have a welcome sign that's almost the exact same, and then I am renting an easel and a flower garland with pink/blush roses on them. So very similar to this. We're not going to do a crate schedule, at least not that I know of right now. We're not going to do a photo guest book, and our invitations and save the dates, well, our invitations had a floral vibe to them, but they obviously weren't this exact set right here. Okay, now some of these pins are just for ideas of things that I might want to do something similar. So for instance, this one on the far left talks about having an unplugged ceremony. So we are going to have an unplugged ceremony, and I'll show you the sign that I'm renting for that. These love is patient, love is kind verse signs we're not having, but I thought that was a cute idea. We are going to have a spot up front where I have a sign for people who have passed away that were close to us. Josh's grandpa passed away in this last year, and I lost a sister a couple years ago, so we're going to have that for them as well as everybody else that we've lost since then. Then these two pictures of bridesmaids dresses. I am actually picking a bridesmaid's dress that has a very similar style to the burgundy ones, but it's more of this midnight dark blue color, and I can show that to you guys in a different video. Down here, I'm going to be using a lot of blush flowers, which again, I'll show you all of my florals in a different video, but that's why I pinned these two, because I like those colors together. This is a cute little chair sign for the mother of the bride. I'm not sure if I'll have something like this, but it's such a small item that it would be fairly easy to make later on. Now there's a few pictures of wedding dresses. My dress is very similar to these, is all that I'm going to say, just so I don't give away too much. Josh has seen like these pictures before, so it's not a big deal, but I did indeed actually get one that is in this style. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, now down here, we had always loved the idea of getting married with a great view behind us, like at Crystal Mountain, which is where this is, or something like that. So that's why I have this picture in here. It's always been one of my inspiration pictures for my wedding. We are getting married at a location that we're going to have a big glass wall behind us and kind of on the sides. And it's going to be looking out over the Puget Sound, over the San Juan Islands. So that's going to be really cool in the background, and we're going to do our ceremony at sunset. This bouquet, this bridal bouquet on the left, is going to be pretty similar to what I'm doing. My everything floral is going to be very silver dollar eucalyptus heavy. I'm not going to go with dark red roses or red flowers like this, but I am going to use like this blush color, and again, I'll show you those later on. My centerpieces are kind of similar to this one with the 3 candles on it, where I'm going to have a piece of wood lots of eucalyptus, and then some small tea lights. And then I'm going to have our table numbers in the middle, as well as some rose petal or roses, like the bulbs of the rose, the flower, like cut with no stem, intertwined with the garland of eucalyptus around the edges. Our cake, we do love something like this where it's got that almost like a naked vibe to it, but kind of like a birchwood vibe to it. So we're going to try and find a bakery that's not too expensive that we can get a very small cake for us to cut and eat, and then we're going to do cupcakes for the rest of our dessert. So like over here, there's a picture of a cupcake tree. That's something that we're going to do similar, we're going to do something similar to that. We're not doing a s'mores bar, but that was an idea for a while there, especially since we were bouncing between December and June. So if we did it in June, that would have been like perfect. We are going to do something kind of like this, leave a message for the anniversary, but we're doing advice and date night ideas, and we're going to have those put in a box by our guest book. We love this idea of, wrapping things with lights, and I actually have twinkly lights that you saw in my intro. Those are going to go behind us at the altar on a really nice birchwood altar that I'll show you in just a second. And then down here, we thought about maybe doing a sparkler send-off. We can't do that where we're going, but we have a really cool idea that we're doing instead, which of course I'll share with you later on. Some cute little favor ideas we're doing. I did homemade candles. I made like a eucalyptus and gardenia scented candles, like 2 different scents. One was blush and one was like a green color. So those are already done. Then just some table number ideas and our table number sign. And I am going to be making something similar to this on my own out of a video that I saw on YouTube. So that will be a later video, like very close to the wedding, honestly, because all the supplies are up in Washington and I am not. Okay, now I'm going to jump over to the rental website where we have all of our rentals, the stuff that we're going to get, and I'm going to show you those. So this is just some free advertising for this, I don't want to say lady because it's a company, but this website. It's called Sweet Buffet Lady Rentals, and they're out of Monroe, Washington, which is pretty close to where we're getting married. But I'm going to show you all of the things that we're renting. Now, the reason I'm taking you to the actual website is because we're going to be renting a lot of things from this company. The very first thing that we're going to be renting from this company is this Birch Arch. So we're going to have it very similar to this picture down here on the right, where we have the twinkly lights dangling down, maybe some flowers. We might wrap some cloth around it, but we're probably not going to have it dangling behind us because we want that really pretty view of the ocean. It's kind of like this one down here on the left, where maybe some cloth wrapped through it with some flowers, and then my dangly twinkly lights behind us. So that's the very first thing that we're renting. Now, the reason I'm showing you our rentals is because I feel like it gives you a good idea of the theme that we're going with, kind of the rustic vibe. So, for instance, we're going to rent these large galvanized buckets to go behind our bar to put our drinks in, so that kind of carries the theme. To also go with our rustic vibe, we're going to be getting one of these cupcake stands to put our guest cupcakes. Now, maximum, we're going to have about 100 guests, so this cupcake stand holds 90, and then I'm also going to rent some smaller white crates to go next to it and hold some other cupcakes. That's even if we really need those, but they'll just kind of have extra, decor. And then we're going to rent 2 of these wood stands to go under our cake. We're going to do something very similar to these 2 cakes right here, where it's a very small cake, and we're going to stack up 2 of these boxes. We're going to stack them so that they're kind of diagonal to each other, if that makes sense, and put our cake on top. Now, one of the biggest thing at our wedding is going to be the candles. I am planning on renting about 60 of these large candles up here. I think about 17 of each, because I'm going to have them going up and down the aisle, and then I'm going to have them on, the buffet table, the card table, the dessert table, things like that. And then we're also going to rent, I think I told her these ones. We're going to rent a lot of these small amber tea lights as well, because we're going to have 4 on each guest table, plus a bunch on the head table, and then sprinkle them throughout those other tables I had mentioned previously. I am renting 2 of these easels right here, one for our welcome sign and one for our unplugged ceremony sign. And then maybe at the base of that unplugged ceremony sign, I'm going to prop my other sign that I have that says, you know, we're all family once the knot is tied, like don't pick a side or whatever the saying is, because I bought that, so that'll be cute. But I'm gonna have 2 of those that I'm renting. One thing that we're very excited about is that we're gonna rent this bar. Now I know it looks very rustic, but that's kind of our theme. So we're gonna rent this bar. I'm actually also renting this marquee light that is sitting atop of it. Now we'll be able to stick those galvanized buckets back here on the bottom, so that way we can have, you know, our wine and our beer bottles in those galvanized buckets with some ice and keep those cool, so that way they can be served cool. But that's what we're renting for our bar. Here is the garland that we're going to rent for our welcome signs. We're actually renting this welcome sign pretty much, and this same easel, and then we're going to rent this garland that's hanging on it. So the only thing different from this picture for our wedding is that this piece of eucalyptus won't be at the top, unless we decide to throw a piece of real eucalyptus up top, because we'll have a lot of that. Now we definitely decided to go cheaper for some food items, but I decided that I wanted to spend some of our money that we were saving in other areas on some nice glassware and other pieces of, you know, drinkware, things like that, because I feel like that's something that people really notice versus, you know, the plates. Like a plastic really nice plate is going to be fine, but, you know, a nice champagne flute would be really fun. So we're going to rent quite a few of these champagne flutes. We're going to rent a handful of these wine glasses, and I mean like 50 or 60. We're going to rent water goblets for everybody. I think we chose not to rent beer glasses, but maybe we will. We're going to rent one of these salt and pepper shakers for each table. We're renting a bunch of coffee cups. And those are the main drinkware rentals that we're going to have. Now for our tablecloths, we're going to rent their blush pink ones, and we're going to rent the round ones for the guest tables, and then quite a few of them for our other tables, including the head table. And that's what they'll look like right here. And then to match our tablecloths, we are going to be renting these blush pink L'Amour satin napkins for each person. We're going to rent one of these fun Share the Love signs to have our hashtag posted on, so that way people can share their pictures after the ceremony. We're going to have an unplugged ceremony, but then after that's over, people can take as many pictures as they want, and this way they have a way to share them with us. And I believe this one right here is the unplugged ceremony sign that I decided to go with. So it's just asking people to nicely turn off their cell phones and cameras and enjoy the special moment with us. Not, you know, trying to be too pushy. If it was my choice, I would have the one that's like, put down your phone, there's a person that we hired for that, you know, things like that. And then here's our welcome to our beginning sign that we're going to have. And then we are going to rent, I believe it's this marquee sign. This is love, and we're going to put it on the floor in front of the head table, so that way it's lit up on the ground in front of us. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we're renting this bar sign to put on top of the bar. Then we are going to be renting some things from another company. It's Jubilee Weddings and Events. Jubilee Weddings and Events. We're going to be renting from them. The main thing are these wood squares to go on the center of our tables. And then for the head table, we're going to have these wood table runners that match. We're also going to rent some of these white crates to have extra storage for some cupcakes or other desserts that we choose to have. So that was the biggest stuff that I wanted to show you for this video, just what our whole vibe of our wedding is. We're kind of going with a rustic feel, but then the location that we're at has a very modern feel to it, and that's fine, because like you saw on my Pinterest board, I've actually labeled my Pinterest board my rustic modern wedding or something like that. So we want those rustic feel. We want that rustic feeling, but we also want some modern touches, because that's very much our style as well. In my next video, I'm going to go into the wedding venue that I picked and the other ones I had previously looked at. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one, next Wedding Wednesday. Thanks for watching.